Landlord tried to evict elderly black couple. Their adopted white children returned to crush him. The autumn sun fell weakly across the cracked sidewalk as Martha and Leonard Price sat on the worn wooden steps of their porch. The house behind them was old but full of love, its paint peeling yet walls strong, built from decades of sweat, sacrifice, and memories. To them, it was not just a house. It was a heartbeat of their family, the place where they had raised children, shared laughter, weathered storms, and held on to hope when the world outside often gave them reasons not to. But on this morning, their home was under threat. A white SUV with tinted windows pulled up, and from it stepped Gerald Whitmore, the landlord. He was a smug man in an expensive gray suit, his hair slicked back with too much oil, his lips curled into something between a smile and a sneer. A sheriff's deputy trailed him, looking uncomfortable but unwilling to resist. Well, Gerald said loudly, making sure the neighbors who had already begun gathering could hear. Looks like today is finally the day. You people have stretched your luck long enough. Martha tightened her grip on Leonard's hand. Her dark eyes glistened with pain, but she refused to give Gerald the satisfaction of seeing her cry. Leonard, whose back had bent with age but whose spirit was still firm, rose slowly to his feet. "This is our home, Gerald," Leonard said, his voice steady. "We've paid every cent we owe. You know that." Gerald chuckled, pulling out a stack of papers. "Not according to this. You're 3 months behind. That's grounds for eviction. Sheriff, do your job." The sheriff shifted uneasily, glancing at the couple, then at the small crowd of neighbors watching from across the street. Some whispered to each other, their expressions mixed between pity and judgment. One woman muttered, "Sad, but maybe it's for the best. Never made sense, them two raising white kids anyway." The words stung. Martha heard them, as she had heard them for years, behind her back, at the grocery store, at church. She and Leonard had adopted 3 children decades ago, each of them white, each of them theirs in every way that mattered. The world never let them forget that their family did not look the way it was supposed to. Gerald grinned at the murmurs. "Oh, come on, Martha. You really thought your little charity project would save you? Those kids of yours, where are they now? Lawyers? Soldiers? Big-shot businessmen? Please." He turned to the crowd, laughing. They probably ran off long ago once they realized who their parents were. Martha's chest tightened. The sting of humiliation was sharper than the autumn air. Leonard reached for her hand again. But before he could speak, the rumble of a sleek black car rolled up the street. A tall man in a navy suit stepped out, his briefcase swinging confidently at his side. His sandy blonde hair caught the light, and his piercing blue eyes scanned the crowd before landing on Gerald. "Actually," the man said, his voice calm but edged with steel, "the lawyer you just mocked is standing right here." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Martha's heart leapt. It was their eldest, Michael. He strode up the path, hugging his mother tightly, clasping his father's hand, then turning to face Gerald. "Gerald Whitmore, you filed false documents. My parents are not behind on their payments. In fact, I have bank records, cleared checks, and notarized receipts that prove you've been pocketing their money while reporting them delinquent." He opened his briefcase with a snap and pulled out a thick folder, waving it for everyone to see. "Forgery, fraud, attempted unlawful eviction. Shall I go on?" The sheriff blinked. "Is this true?" Gerald sputtered, but before he could respond, another sound filled the air, the sharp rumble of a motorcycle. Heads turned as a figure in uniform swung off the bike, helmet under one arm. A soldier, broad-shouldered, boots clicking against the pavement. It was Daniel, their second son. He marched up the walkway, saluting his father in playful respect before embracing his mother. Turning to Gerald, his voice thundered. "I've just come off duty, and I'll tell you this. You're not putting my parents out of their home. Not today, not ever. I've already spoken with the base commander. Any attempt at force will be considered harassment of a military family. You want headlines about that? Be my guest." The murmurs in the crowd shifted, judgment replaced by awe, prejudice quieted by pride. A few neighbors lowered their phones, no longer eager to record humiliation. Instead, they began recording something else entirely. Gerald's face reddened. This is outrageous. Sheriff, don't listen to them. But the roar of an expensive engine drowned him out. A glossy silver car slid into view, the kind only CEOs drove. Out stepped Jonathan, the youngest, in a crisp tailored suit. He adjusted his tie, gave a small wave to the stunned neighbors, and walked straight to the porch. Mother, father. He kissed Martha's cheek, clapped Leonard on the shoulder, then turned smoothly to Gerald. You know, Gerald, your problem is short-sightedness. You thought you could bully my parents because they're elderly, because they're black, because their children didn't look like them. What you didn't know is that while you were scheming, I was negotiating. As of this morning, I've purchased this property outright. House, land, everything. You don't own this place anymore. He pulled out a fresh deed, signed and sealed, and held it high. They do. For a moment, silence fell. Even the wind seemed to pause. Gerald's smirk vanished, replaced with disbelief. That's not possible, Gerald whispered. Oh, it's very possible, Jonathan replied, smiling. And it's legal, which means you're trespassing. Sheriff. The sheriff straightened, relief flickering across his face. Mr. Whitmore, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the premises immediately. The crowd erupted, some in gasps, others in cheers. The woman who had muttered earlier about those kids covered her mouth, ashamed. Phones captured every second. The greedy landlord exposed, the loyal children defending their parents, the black couple who had once been whispered about now standing tall, victorious. Martha's tears finally fell, but they were tears of joy. Her son surrounded her, wrapping her and Leonard in protective circle. For once, the world wasn't mocking. It was witnessing. Gerald, humiliated, stormed back to his SUV, but not before Jonathan added one final blow. Oh, Gerald, expect a lawsuit for fraud. And don't worry, my brother Michael will make sure it's airtight. The SUV screeched away, leaving dust and whispers behind. Martha looked up at her children, her voice trembling. You came back for us. Always, Michael said softly. We always will. Daniel placed his soldier's cap on his father's head. We're family. That's all that matters. Jonathan slipped the deed into Leonard's pocket. This home is yours forever. No one will ever take it away. As the sun dipped lower, the crowd began to disperse, no longer buzzing with judgment but with respect. Some even clapped quietly. Others offered awkward smiles. A story that had begun with humiliation ended in triumph. A testament to love stronger than prejudice, loyalty greater than greed. And on that porch, under the fading light, Martha and Leonard sat once more, this time not as victims, but as pillars of family that refused to break. Their legacy, like their love, was unshakable.